Module 1 provided you with an opportunity to notice how young children begin to make sense of our language in print. Now you will consider what it takes for a student to be able to decode words automatically, group them meaningfully, and read with expression. Being fluent in reading allows students to focus on comprehension, interacting with text, and attaching meaning to printed symbols. This is not reading fast, it is making connections with background knowledge and creating meaning. Remember, it is the diversity that exists in the classroom that warrants your most directed teaching. Struggling students are the most diverse in their confusions than any other group of students when using reading and writing as tools for learning. It is important for you to notice and identify what students are doing with the tools for learning that causes the confusion. Only then can you diagnose what students need to learn in order to become more efficient readers and writers. Your textbook provides instruction and reinforcement activities to assist with your decisions. It is important to recognize that while all children in the early years of school may have been exposed to beginning literacy and word analysis skills, teachers cannot assume they are efficient users of those skills once the reading task requires it. Your success with guiding students' comprehension is to know what you're looking for that may provide answers and solutions to the confusions. For Module 2, you will decide what it takes for students in your grade level subject area to use reading and writing to learn. Your reading assignment, you will decide what it takes for students in your chosen grade level and subject area to use reading and writing to learn. Your reading assignment will cover vocabulary opportunities, writing opportunities, fluency, setting a purpose to read, preparing to read, and different types of text and questioning structures. Finally, you will consider which teaching structure you would use. Remember, the first 1 to 2 pages of each chapter describes the skill, and the remainder of the chapter provides explicit instruction and reinforcement activities that can be used to assist students. So don't have heart failure when you look at all of these chapters. Remember, the first 1 or 2 pages are the pages you need to focus on. The remaining pages of the chapter you can skim through. And there will be a quiz over these chapters. Your discussion for this module, you'll be watching a video on information fluency, and you will respond to the video by answering the question, what do you think? This is your performance project for Module 2, Reading to Learn. Working with the structures from Text Comprehension, Unit 5, you will identify vocabulary opportunities from Unit 3 and fluency strategies from Unit 4 and apply to a selected reading in your chosen grade level or subject area. Choose a reading selection from your subject area and grade level. You may choose books from the subject areas listed at the end of Chapter 16 or another reading, e-text, website, or other printed text that would be part of your subject area. So under Chapter 8, Graphic Organizers, you're going to look closely at the vocabulary in the selected reading. What is unique about the concepts? What is the best opportunity to visually represent the relationship among the words? Chapter 8 is not an all-inclusive list. You may do a search and find a more appropriate organizer. Chapter 9, Morphology. Look closely at the word formation unique to the vocabulary. Are there unusual compound words or contractions? Do the students need to focus on specific root words? Chapter 10, Context. Look closely at the words that surround a particular vocabulary word. What type of context clue is offered in the text? Remember, you know the meaning, but your students don't. Chapter 11, Word Relationships. Look closely at the different word relationships that exist with the vocabulary. Do you need to focus on multiple meanings, figurative language, synonyms, etc., in order for the students to be able to comprehend what they read? Chapter 12, Extending an Interest in Vocabulary. Reading is important to vocabulary development. Writing gives permanence to thought, so look closely at the opportunities to write that would extend comprehension and expand an interest. Focus on writing opportunities that not only extend an interest, but also increase students' vocabulary. You may use suggestions from the chapter or develop a different writing opportunity, either original or from another source. If you use another source, you do need to include an APA citation. Chapter 13 through 15, Fluency. Describe the focus you will choose to increase students' fluency. Under Chapter 13, look closely at some major fluency strategies. What would you need to provide opportunities to increase fluency based on the reading you have chosen? Chapter 13 is not an all-inclusive list. You may want to do a search and find more appropriate strategies for your grade level. Chapter 14, Fluency Miscues. Occasionally, oral reading is necessary in order to identify miscues that can interfere with fluency. If that were the case, what might you predict to be a miscue in the reading you selected? Chapter 15, Decreasing Faulty Habits. The information in this chapter is not something you can pre-plan for, but you should be aware of these habits if and when they arise and be prepared to step in and decrease the occurrence. Chapter 16, Preparing Students to Read and Setting a Purpose and Strategy. Don't forget to set a purpose for reading, then decide which strategy below you would use for this reading. After reading over the explicit instruction for that particular strategy, explain why this would be the best choice. Chapter 17, Organizational Structures. What structure does the text use? Describe your text structure with examples and how you would use explicit instruction and/or reinforcement activity for that particular text structure. Would it be appropriate to use shared reading with your reading selection? Students really need to understand the organizational pattern in order to comprehend what they read. These types of structures show up in expository and narrative text. Chapter 18, Elaborative Structures. What structure would be appropriate student use? Describe your structure with examples and how you would use explicit instruction and/or reinforcement activity for that particular structure. Students need to be given opportunities to deepen their understanding. They reorganize and personalize the information through higher order thinking. Chapter 19, Questioning Structures. What questioning structure would be appropriate student use? Describe the structure with examples and how you would use explicit instruction and/or reinforcement activity for that particular structure. Questioning strategies help students connect background experience with the text. Remember that not all students know how to question. Teachers must provide opportunities for students to learn the skill. Finally, teaching structures. Now decide which teaching structure you would use and explain why. There should always be a plan for providing opportunities to learn. You may want to do a search for teaching structures besides those that are listed. Finally, this is a page that gives you some idea of how fluency sounds. These are links that you can click on. The first one, you'll be able to listen to young children reading. The second link is older children. You can even try it yourself. And finally, young adults, where you can listen to fluency with young adults. Remember, fluency is the ability to decode words automatically, group them meaningfully, and read with expression.